Have you ever made yourself smaller to keep someone from pulling away and then watch them pull away anyway? Just sit with that for a second. Because that's where this whole thing starts. Not in the big dramatic fights. Not in the ultimatums. It starts somewhere way quieter than that. It starts the moment you decide to need less. You stop bringing up the thing that hurt you. You tell yourself you're just being flexible, easy, chill. You start answering "I'm fine" before they even finish asking. You rearrange your whole emotional landscape, trim back the parts that might feel like too much, and you call it maturity. You call it being low maintenance. And for a little while, it seems to work. Things feel lighter. They seem more at ease. You convince yourself you've finally cracked the code. If I just don't need anything, they'll stay close. But here's what you don't see happening in the background. Here's what nobody warned you about. You weren't solving the problem, you were hiding it inside yourself. I keep coming back to this one scenario. It's not dramatic, but it kind of broke open how I think about this whole dynamic. Imagine someone, let's call her Layla, who's been with her partner for almost 2 years. He's warm, yeah, thoughtful in small ways, but the moment things get emotionally close, he retreats, gets busy, goes quiet. She figured out early on that if she needed too much, he'd disappear emotionally for days. So she adapted, stopped texting twice, never cried in front of him, waited for him to initiate depth, and when he didn't, she pretended not to notice. She became, by every visible measure, the most low-maintenance partner imaginable. And you know what happened? He didn't get closer. He got more comfortable at a distance. She'd spent 2 years carefully making herself invisible. And all it did was teach him the distance was fine. That her silence meant everything was okay. That nobody needed to try harder. She wasn't keeping the relationship alive. She was keeping the illusion alive. And those are really, really different things. The person who never seems to need anything isn't calm. They're regulated at the surface and activated underneath. The performance of being fine is so old and so practiced that even they can't always tell the difference anymore. That's Layla. That might be you. And here's the part that actually changes everything. When you go low maintenance for an avoidant partner, you're not meeting them where they are. You're mirroring their wound back at them. You're basically confirming the core belief of their attachment style, that love is safer without vulnerability, that closeness is fine as long as nobody actually needs anything. Deactivating strategies, the ones avoidants use, are ways to escape or minimize the emotional pain caused by attachment figures who are unavailable or unresponsive. Their whole purpose is to turn off the attachment system, to prevent feelings of vulnerability, rejection, disappointment. Think about that for a second. When you suppress your own needs, you're doing the same thing they do, running the same software, and now you've got 2 people in a relationship, both dampening the attachment system, both performing okayness, both quietly hoping the other person will somehow feel the distance and move closer, without anyone having to say a word. That's not intimacy. That's 2 people standing in the same room, alone. What the child learned wasn't simply that adults are unreliable. It was something more corrosive than that. The child learned that having needs made the adult withdraw further. So the needs themselves became the problem. That's where avoidant attachment is born. Not from coldness, not from not caring. From a very early, very painful lesson that saying "I need you" leads to abandonment. So the safest thing, the only safe thing, is to never say it. In childhood, deactivation was adaptive. It reduced pain in an environment where needs couldn't be met. In adulthood, it blocks the intimacy that relationships actually require. And here's where so many people get this wrong. They see the avoidant self-sufficiency and think, okay, I need to match that. Be just as low needs. That way they won't feel smothered. And honestly, I get it. It comes from a real place of love, but it's a strategy built on a misunderstanding of what avoidants actually need. Avoidant partners tend to process emotions internally and later. So if you chase vulnerability in real time, you'll usually just get distance. But, and this matters, not asking for anything at all isn't the answer either. Because when you go low maintenance with an avoidant, you're not meeting them halfway. You're disappearing. and the avoidant doesn't experience your disappearance as relief, not long term. They experience it as confirmation of their deepest fear, that no one actually sees them, that even the person who says they love them doesn't really need them. Avoidants often build this strong internal story about being completely self-sufficient. It's a defense mechanism. But underneath it, they're terrified of being unnecessary. And when you become low maintenance enough that they never feel needed, never feel chosen, never feel like someone is genuinely showing up, you've handed them proof for both fears at once. That intimacy isn't real, and that they're alone even when they're not. The low-maintenance person and the high-anxiety person aren't opposites. They're often both organised around the same fear, being left, just running different software to prevent it. Honestly, this is the part that stopped me cold, because when I actually sat with this, I had to ask myself, when I made myself small in a relationship, was I doing it from love or from fear? Was I low maintenance because I was genuinely easy to be with? Or because I was terrified that if I showed them who I actually was, real needs, real feelings, they'd confirm what a quiet part of me already believed, that I was too much, that needing things was the fastest way to become inconvenient. According to research summarised by psychologist Lisa Firestone, about 30% of people carry some version of this avoidant pattern, and it tends to develop when a child doesn't consistently feel safe, seen, or soothed by the adults raising them. The child adapts by becoming what Firestone calls pseudo-independent, meeting their own needs, because depending on someone who keeps failing to respond is more painful than just going without. That word, pseudo-independent. That's what being low maintenance for an avoidant often actually is. Not true ease, not genuine contentment. A performance of independence that hides a very real, very human need for closeness. A need that doesn't disappear just because you stop voicing it. And here's the thing about swallowing all that. You might think you're keeping the peace by letting small stuff slide. But those unresolved things don't just stay swallowed. They build and build. Until one day you don't even know who you are in this relationship anymore. You can't remember what you actually want because you spent so long wanting nothing so they wouldn't leave. So they deactivate. And you accommodate that by deactivating yourself. And now you're both in a relationship where nobody's actually present. Nobody's actually choosing the other. Nobody's fighting for closeness. When one partner consistently withdraws under emotional pressure, the other experiences loneliness, self-doubt, chronic insecurity. Research shows that partners of avoidantly attached people report lower perceived intimacy and higher emotional strain, even when the relationship is otherwise stable, even when there are no big fights, even when you've convinced yourself that being easy is the same thing as being loved. It isn't, and you know it isn't. That low hum of loneliness you carry around, and that's not you asking for too much. That's a human heart doing exactly what it's supposed to do, reaching for someone. Here's what actually works, and it's not comfortable, which is probably why most advice just skips it. Being genuinely present with your real feelings, your real needs, your actual self, is the only thing that can interrupt the avoidance cycle from your side. Not demands, not ultimatums, not emotional explosions after months of silence. Honest, grounded, calm presence. The kind that says, I'm here, I'm real. I have feelings and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Not aggressively, not desperately, just truthfully. Research shows avoidant partners return to connection more easily when autonomy is supported without relational threat. So you're not chasing them, but you're not vanishing either. There's a space between those two things. A grounded, warm, honest space where you show up as yourself. Needs and all, without making those needs a weapon or a test. Without performing neediness to make them feel guilty, but also without swallowing every true thing you feel just to keep the peace. The attachment system stays flexible. Supportive relationships in adulthood can actually compensate for early deficits over time, which means this isn't a locked door for either of you. But that has to start with you stopping the performance of being fine when you're not. Because here's what I know about the person watching this right now. You're not actually low maintenance. You're someone who learned, probably a long time ago, that your needs made people uncomfortable, that asking for things was a form of risk, that the safest version of love was one where you needed very little and gave everything. And that belief has been running quietly in the background of this relationship, shaping every choice you make, including the choice to shrink yourself as someone who's already very comfortable with distance. The work isn't to become high maintenance. That's not the goal. That's not what this is about. The work is to become honest, to stop editing yourself before you even open your mouth, to let someone see the real version of you, the one with actual needs, actual feelings, actual moments of being overwhelmed or disappointed or wanting more, and to let their response tell you everything you need to know. Here's something that really stuck with me. People with avoidant attachment actually struggle to accurately detect their partner's feelings. They can't cultivate intimacy around needs they can't even see. And you've been hiding yours so carefully that you've made it impossible for them to even try. So stop hiding. Not loudly, not desperately, just honestly. Show up as the version of you that actually exists. The one who feels things, wants things, needs things. And then pay close attention to what happens next. Because the relationship built on the real you is the only one worth having. And the person who can meet the real you is the only one worth staying for. You're not too much. You were just with someone who made you believe that being yourself was a risk. Maybe it's time to take that risk anyway.